to game number 2 of our top 4. First of our top 4 battle over here with Adele versus TK. GG easy. Adele with the Pirate Aggro and TK with Lee Sin.
Oh, it's just gonna come down if Adele is able to burn him faster, then he can get the OTK, because if he manages to get Eye of the Dragon in hand and in play, it's gonna become slightly harder for Adele to burn him down and potentially win the game.
Yup, and here we have a look at TK's hand. He has the Eye of the Dragon. He has 2 Guiding Touch at his disposal as well. Adele has no early drop to rush TK down, so it seems like Adele might be in a rough spot right now.
Well, if he manages to get the damage through, he's not in a rough spot. Especially if double make it rain, he can easily clear the board and then go for more damage and more pressure. Also, Jug the winner is pretty nice because your opponent is not really content about denying, let's say, a 0 mana spell.
Yep, exactly. And also, however, TK's side, there is no Zenith Blade as well, so Adele might be slightly more comfortable knowing that then if Zenith Blade is not activated in TK's side of the board, if he ever drops the Lee Sin on turn 4.
This attack has no downside actually there is one big downside. He wants to respect the Pell Cascade.
Yep, so if Adele ever attacks over here, a Pale Cascade is gonna trade well with the Misfortune, but I don't think Adele should go for the attack over here.
Well, you don't want to you don't want to disrespect the Pell Cascade, I think. But the problem is your Misfortune might die next turn, depending on what TK has here.
Yep, so TK probably will go for the Lee, right? And he would have the Sonic Brave available with just 2 mana up. And he could get a challenge on the Misfortune as well.
Well, I think Lee is more important as a removal tool here than he is important for the TK, because if he manages to ease the pressure from the aggro deck, it's just gonna be over when he draws the second another Lee Sin.
So TK with just 2 spell mana available at his disposal. He has Guiding Touch and also Sonic Wave. Or he could just pass the turn over. He just passes the turn over back to Adele.
Well, he's not that sad with that pass because his opponent can open attack. He might consider barriering if he really wants to remove the MF and stop the MF effect with the barrier. His opponent, he can also decide to just take some hits and then just clear the MF next round. He has plenty of options. Well, at least one Guiding Touch is gonna come down if possible, because he wants the draw. He really wants to stay up ahead in the value game and having more resources he can play with. At this point, he doesn't have much to consider here. It's either he goes for the Guiding Touch or he banks the spell mana for the next rounds in order to have double spells and have more Dragon Links.
Right, and here is the hook on the MF. clears out Adele, and it seems like right now TK has the upper hand on the board, especially with the Golden Sister in his hand. He has heals, he has removals, and he has also every single way to deal with that Lee Sin if he ever has a barrier on him.
Well, he sure does, but the problem is that Lee Sin can pick up his units one by one and kill them, especially because he can easily proc Pel Cascade if he needs to, or he can just play the Sonic Wave, and then that's just easy removal as well. I don't think this attack is... Actually, this block is very much in order just because you have Pel Cascade and you can proc the barrier and you can heal your Lee Sin at the same time.
Right, and here we have a Make It Rain coming on onto the Lee Sin.
Well, I don't think double Make It Rain is going to do it.
Pale Cascade is gonna bring his health back up to 2. So the second Make It Rain would not do anything against the Lee right here.
Well, if he really wants, he can have a unit just so he can block and deal with Lee, but that's not the option anytime soon because next turn his opponent is gonna have the attack token and he's gonna have a lot of mana to play with.
So Adele taking his time, wondering what was the best move, and I believe like OK is the best button that he could ever press right now.
Well, let's hope he hears you. I mean, the other Make It Rain doesn't even make sense. Or he might consider going for the Noxian Fervor, but he doesn't know what he wants to go for if he goes for that line. He goes for Face or he goes for the Eye because it's additional healing.
Yeah, and not forgetting the Dragon, TK is actually gonna spawn another Dragon Link, allowing him to heal 2 more damage this turn.
I'm really curious if TK is going to manage to stabilize in the future, knowing that Adele is getting his big threats online, the late game that he wants. He wants the Jack the Winner, and he wants the Gangplank here so he can clear the opponent board. Gangplank is also proccing barriers and is also clearing this board, which is quite squishy with this low amount of HP on each of the units.
Right, so playing the Dragon Link over here, passing the priority back to Adele to see what he has. What does this actually achieve?
Well, you have double Dragon Links next turn, and you can always proc double spells, especially with triple Deep Meditation. But I think if you're TK here, you go for one of them, and then you go for Pel Cascade, and then that's just it. And your opponent needs to react. He cannot stay idle. There is although the big punish. If his opponent goes for the Jack the Winner, TK can just remove it easily with the Lee Sin.
Yeah, and it seems like it's either Jack the Winner or the Gangplank right here for Adele. And going for the Gangplank is gonna allow him to have another blocker.
Well, he's taking a lot if he doesn't go for anything here.
So still no damage, still no move coming in from Adele. If TK could go for the open attack over here, that is a lot of damage.
I think the smart move here for TK would be the soft pass. He draws 2 cards and then he soft passes because he sees that his opponent doesn't have any will to develop and force him into developing because otherwise it's just scary.
Going in for the Make It Rain, targeting all the 1-cost creature as well, preventing 3 more damage and 2 more heals from TK. Yo, this is probably the best Make It Rain that he could get.
I think Adele here, TK here could have gone for the Pill Cascade and just preserve the Dragon Link and the healing. That would have been additional damage as well. But the fact that he gets 2 more Dragon Links next turn shouldn't matter that much in this situation.
Oh,
Shouldn't make a difference that much in this situation.
and a Zenith Blade from that from the Deep Meditation as well. Not going for any Dragon Link this turn.
Well, if he would have gone for the Dragon Link, I think he would have gone for double deep meditation, or he would have gone for the second spell in Pale Cascade in combat.
Right, and a Gangplank coming in over here, and he has the Way of Ionia available as well. If the Gangplank actually ever goes out of hands,
Well, at this point, you can just remove the Gangplank. You can just put the Gangplank back in the hand, grab another unit, and then just mark your opponent. But with the pickup of Zenith Blade, I think it's just gonna be game over.
yeah, exactly, and especially he has the Pale Cascade, he has Sonic Wave available for the next turn as well.
Well, if Adele here decides to attack, he's not gonna have a pleasant time. The problem is if TK here wants to go for the additional spell in order to proc the Dragon Links. Because if he decides to go for the Dragon Link proc, he can easily grab one of the threats with the Dragon Link.
Right, and top deck Tariq from TK, the Tariq is not gonna make any difference.
Well, maybe it would have made any difference if there was the overwhelm played on it and then play the Lee Sin. But in this case, it might make the difference because you can play Pale Cascade on Tariq and then you can play and you get the Pale Cascade on Lee Sin as well. I'm really curious how far is that Lee Sin in the level up.
So if TK could ever level up Lee Sin this turn, the OTK will be able to be triggered, and that should be it for this particular round. Slip the Fishes targeting Gangplank.
Well, I think he can get the level up basically because he has Pale Cascade and another Sonic Wave, and that should make the leveling up possible. Because TK has played a lot of spells. If that Lee Sin doesn't level, I will be very surprised if he doesn't level specifically in this turn.
Right. Sonic Wave coming in on the Mentor of the Stone instead of the Tariq. Going for the kill on the Gangplank. Pale Cascade on the Tariq as well. That should be the level up for this Lee Sin.
Yeah. And I think that should also be the game for this. I think there's no way that Adele here can survive that attack. Noxian Forward doesn't cut it because it cannot remove anything, and especially it cannot remove the 5-4. It's too much HP for it. And even if you remove the 5-4, you're still having it rough.
Exactly. It seems like Adele has no answer to this particular attack from TK, and a set Yasuo emote coming in, scooping it up. We're going on to game number 3 on the